Hello everyone. Hello and welcome to our July Café&Croissant. You have just seen the video of our 2019 results. You know, our wonderful community of 80 projects, more than 80 startups support, representing more than 450 people. It's a great community. We are together building something great, and you will see in the presentation today. We have some very interesting news for you. But first of all, how are you doing? How is life? You know, we are approaching summer today in Geneva. It's a cloudy day, but it's fine. And we are all preparing for summer. So this is going to be our last Café&Croissant before the break. And so we're going to see each other after in September. So we have very good and interesting news to share with you. Let's start with something that we all learned and we are learning during these days, during these months. But before that, as you know, we are still in a digital setup. We are virtual, and I think I'm not alone even today, because we are first of all sharing the stage with Geneus, our innovation initiator at Campus Biotech, and Ingeborg should be there. Hello, Ingeborg.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you doing?
Yeah, we're fine. Actually, today I'm running this from our meeting room because the projects are really coming back. So I don't dare to do it anymore in the Genius space. We might get disturbed.
Okay, nice. You can invite someone in the room, of course, keeping a good distance, but so they can be a bit more physical. Because I think we also have someone else joining us today for the Café&Croissant, and that should be James, that is now in our cafeteria.
Good morning, everybody. I have real croissant, and I have real colleagues as well coming to steal the croissant. You got to get in closer, guys. There we go. Hi.
Hello.
Steal a croissant.
Sébastien.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Did you disinfect your croissant, James?
Absolutely. They taste great. I have to say, lockdown is good, but croissant is better.
In real, yeah. Okay, so let's kick it off. And I think, yes, what you're saying, James, is very true. Because I think I'm learning, and we are learning a new word these days, that no matter what is gonna there to stay. We don't know how life is gonna be and how the new normal will look like. We always keep asking ourselves, you know, what is gonna change for real. I bet that something is gonna change, and this is related to this new word that I personally have been learning, this phygital. So let's get phygital. What does it mean exactly? You know, phygital is the combination, is the merge between physical and digital, right? I mean, that looks simple, but in reality, is this type of situation we are starting to experience together, like we are doing today. What we have James in the cafeteria with people bothering him, taking I see some cafe behind, and but that's great because it's a combination of being physical and digital at the same time, which is nothing new, by the way. Which is nothing new because I remind you that. When I was younger, there was Jane Fonda, remember, doing the gym aerobic workout already on the VHS cassette. That was the first interaction that was digital and physical. And today, to have companies such as Peloton promoting this type of remote workout is something normal. So nothing new, but this is going to stay because all our meetings, so we are learning a new way of communicating and making even meetings where you have people physically in the room and at the same time people remotely. So in the interaction, you need to be very mindful, to talk and then leave the room for the others because you don't have the eye contact very often. They can help you in hand it over. It's a new way of conceiving actually the interaction, and in the end, if you see it's all our digital use of technologies is related to be online and offline at the same time. It's a bit like online dating. That all the purpose of online dating is to go offline as soon as possible. So this is exactly the same context. So
our croissants are better, I have to say. The physical croissants are better, but the digital ones are more slimming.
Yeah, that's it. So fidget, I don't know if the word, this kind of weird word, is gonna stay, but definitely the concept is. So and I'm learning as we are entering this new phase. Even our next events might be like that, might be physical and at the same time digital. So we're still thinking about it, and we are happy to discover together this new world.
Yeah,
But
it works well with Fongit as well. You got Fongit gets Figital.
Yes, that becomes pretty complicated, but why not? Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, so let's start with the good news. Good fundraising companies. Tarapet is a great example of an extremely good project. Is an official spin-off coming from CERN that is focused on developing a robust and serious innovation when it comes to proton therapy, doing a faster and more accurate proton therapy. It is really a great project, and is a good example of collaboration also between Geneus that hosted the project at the very beginning, and then Fongit later on. Team is exceptional. And it's not by chance that they raised the money during this tough circumstances. They raised 1 million of seed financing with already good investors. There is Nina Capital, FSI, 3 angel investors, and also Official Frontier Investing, EFI, which is a new venture capital seed stage in Geneva. They started to do investment, and it's a great news for the entire startup environment for Geneva and beyond. And this proves that fundraising, and we will see in the slides later on, fundraising is of course slowing down, but it's not stopping, and there are still opportunities to raise money. So congratulations, Tarapet, for this seed financing that will contribute to develop the full-scale prototype and then go to the next round of financing. So well done, Christina and team. VLabs, other good news. VLabs is a Fongit startup active in augmented reality. They do augmented reality equipped helmet, allowing operators, to directly see the exact location of all underground pipes and cables. Is what is called this blue collar technologies. And VLabs is developing fast. I remind you that they made a seed fundraising a few months ago. I think we announced that in one of the latest Café&Croissant, and now they're pushing the sales. They are now they just won the tender with the Office Fédéral de la Topographie, which is a great achievement, a great recognition for the quality of the technology. And then they are also working already with the Romand Energy. They're having a lot of pilots. It's a solid, good companies, Geneva-based, Geneva technology, and again a great team. So you see, team always comes back. If you have no team, you have no companies, right? And both cases, both Tarapet and VLabs, they are exceptional teams. So well done, VLabs, for your achievement and starting to sell. So again, you have still investors around, but you start to have clients around. So the market is catching up again, slowly, but is catching up, and VLabs is proving it. Let's welcome Orama VR. Orama VR is a new company joining Fongit. It's a company active in a virtual reality, in augmented reality, for allowing a doctor and surgeons to perform their activities remotely, and also for training them in doing those. It's really an innovation for medical and surgical hands-on training, in fact. And it's a spin-off from FORTH, which is a very important institute based in Athens, and is the Foundation for Research and Technology, HELLAS. And they are also collaboration with the University of Stanford and SRI, so the Stanford Research Institute, for their technology. They are coming here in Switzerland because the entrepreneur is going to work also with HUG here, University of Geneva, the hospital, the University of Geneva, and we really look forward to collaborating with them because again, great team, great project, And welcome Orama, and looking forward to see you around and also to present in one of our next Café&Croissant in physical presence. And again, about the team, a great team. Sorry to be a bit redundant on this, but it's this is the reason for succeeding and failing. It's all about the team. And Mykaj is a company based already at Fongit, which has developed the first fully automated ocular diagnostic platform based on state-of-the-art diagnostic technologies, robotics, artificial intelligence. It's the typical tool that allows any ophthalmologist to optimize the throughput of patients, and also to allowing this security when it comes to physical distancing that is going to be required more and more in our low impact economy. So they have already developed their prototype. They already have the first pilots going on, and they welcome all of you for a free single visit of about 30 minutes, the 23rd July in Plan-les-Ouates, in their premises in Plan-les-Ouates. So if you want to have a full scan of your ophthalmic situation with the latest state-of-the-art technologies, you register. Go on the website, and you will have Jackie and his team welcoming you for this fantastic visit, and it's for free. So why not? Let's go. Let's give data to the company and get data for your ophthalmologist as well. So Mykaj, are good company to keep on the radar screen for all the investors that are listening to our Café&Croissant and also to the podcast later on. So this is for our companies. Good news. Let's go about very briefly here about what we're doing with the state of Geneva and the Confederation supporting the startups that are suffering for this crisis. We try to bring in our Café&Croissant and in general in our communication all the good things happening to our community of entrepreneurs. Fundraising, like Tarapet, clients, like VLabs, new companies arriving like Orama VR, and prototype developing like Mykaj. But of course, we have companies that are suffering from the crisis, in particular because they were supposed to fundraise during this period of time and they could not. So with that in mind, the state of Geneva, together with the Confederation, they joined forces to put in place a really good program for trying to bridge these companies suffering, this 4-6 months company for before fundraising. So trying to prevent these great investments of all the community into innovative startups to be lost because of this crisis. So in order to fulfill this temporary failure of market, of financial market, we are happy as Fongit to collaborate with both the State of Geneva and the Confederation for putting in place this measure, which is doing great in the sense that we have been receiving about 95 requests of support, and we are treating those. Is not an easy task because understanding and analyzing startups, in particular for a governmental body, is not as simple as probably expected, and so that's why it takes a bit longer. But we are there. We are, as Fongit, in the trenches with you and there to support you. However, what is important regarding this measure, and this is why we decided to put you here, is that the measure is planned to give up to 600,000 of loan, of guaranteed. In fact, it's a cautionnement technically. So it's a guarantee then that will support your bank to provide you a credit line that will be guaranteed by both the federal government and the canton through Fongit. So this measure will end the 31st of August. There are some criteria as you see in the slides, but please go and check our website, and you will have in the messages of our chat. Go and check our website if you need to have access to these measures. There are criteria that are not very simple, but if you're an eligible company, please do that, because we are really happy and there to help. We are there. Always think that we are there to help you, and we try to do our best all together to get out from this tough situation before the market catches up again. So regarding some other good news, I think it's important to mention that, and this is an interesting survey that has been published recently by Startup Genome, which is a pretty solid and good source of information when it comes to the startup community. And for the second year, the Geneva area, when I mean Geneva area, I would say Lake Geneva area, which goes Geneva, Lausanne, up until Bern. So the Geneva, Lausanne, Bern region has been seen as a highly developed cluster for innovation. So we are among the first. We are in the top 30 list of the startup ecosystem, and that is honestly a great achievement, because that shows the fact that Startup Genome is a US-based institute for assessing startups around the world. So it means that Switzerland in general, of course, but also this area in particular of the Western Switzerland has now shown up, as popped up on the radar screen for also US US startup studies, and therefore also for US investors. So and it means that the machine is starting to move, and the famous virtuous circle that we are trying to achieve all together is about to grow. I need here to thank you, everyone. I need to thank you, Fongit. I need to thank you, InnoSwiss. I need to thank you, all the angel groups in Switzerland. We need to thank you, all the actors, Venture Lab, EPFL Innovation Park, everyone, SICTIC, BAS, all the IP lawyers helping the startups in this journey. It's really a teamwork. It's really a teamwork. The Fongit is trying to play the role at our best and doing all we can. But of course, it's really a team play that makes Switzerland and this Western Switzerland kind of successful place for startups. So I'm really happy and personally honored to be part, and I think I also talk on behalf of all my colleagues, of James, Ingeborg, but also the entire team. We're really happy about being part of this journey together with our friends and partners doing the same job of supporting the ecosystem. So really, really well done all together. So we should congratulate ourselves. And there is one evidence of what I just come to say is you saw already with Tarapet that we start to see new actors, Nina Capital, Efficient Frontier Investing, which is a VC, a local VC company based in Geneva, starting their operation. That means that there is interest. There is interest for this region, and I'm optimistic regarding future level of investments for all our startups. There is the first analysis of this year, the 2020 first half report from Startup Ticker, and I think that what I just I've said is a bit confirmed here. In particular, I'd like to mention that the Swiss startups raised about 763 million, which is almost 40% less, 36% less than the previous years. That was expected. We had basically more than one quarter of complete stop, almost complete stop in invest. That was absolutely expected. Remember, we discussed about it during our previous Café&Croissant. But we need to read between the lines. There are some very other interesting elements. First of all, the numbers of financing round have increased. So 20% more than the previous years. That's the previous year. And that's fantastic. That means that we have more startups and the investment is active at the earlier stage. So we are building the pipeline. That means that we are building the pipeline for the future. And that means also that we have a flourishing environment of new startups raising money. I think we also mentioned it in one of the previous Café&Croissant, where we showed that during this crisis, and I remember we took as reference the financial crisis of 2008, of course, the overall amount of investment dropped, and it took, 6-8 quarters to get back and to catch up to the previous level. But in particular, we recognize and we acknowledge that the seed rounds were catching up earlier than the later stage ones. And in this case, we see, in fact, that we cannot judge it's too early, but it seems that we are in a similar situation where, of course, the total amount drops because the later stage rounds are more difficult. But we have a good pipeline, a good building scene of new startups. So it's really important to track these newcomers, because it's from this crisis that the new winners come really out for the future. And again, I think you have read so many examples of it, the Slack, the Airbnb, the Uber, but even Microsoft back then in the 70s and 80s, they were actually companies that were coming out from a crisis in particular. What is important, you can read the slide, that the investor remain active during this crisis, and in fact, Tarapet is a good example. There will be delays, but the fundraising overall, they don't expect to decrease. There are some good news in particular for maybe the valuation will go a bit down, but good companies will be able to raise money still. And that is for Switzerland. If we go in Geneva in particular, the first half was pretty successful, actually, surprisingly successful, because we raised more than 100 million of Swiss francs, which is, by the way, the double already compared to overall year 2019. So 2019, Geneva Startup raised only 55 million, and this year, only the first half, they raised 118 million. In particular, companies like Spineart, companies like Taurus Group, which is a Fongit supported company, they raise money in a very robust manner. So, I mean, it's difficult, but this data, this evidences show that is really promising, and we need really to keep position and to hold the lines, because there are good things to come. Of course, among the sectors that really developed and performed very well, there is in Geneva life science, in general digital health, and the Geneva Canton performed particularly well in that sector. No surprise. Life science sector in general is a very active one. We have a cluster of excellence at Campus Biotech with Campus Biotech Innovation Park. And this is exactly where Geneus is based. And that's why probably this is the best transition possible that I could make for hand over the stage to Ingeborg.
Thank you. Nice transition, Antonio. So hello, everybody from the Campus Biotech Innovation Park. It's actually really great, because now you guys are putting in the chat good morning and so on, so we can actually see who's here. So I saw people from our friends from the University of Geneva. I saw people from Stern, InnoSuisse, Yuri, Gert, Julien, Yves. So hello, everybody. So come back away from your coffee machine and listen to the news of Campus Biotech Innovation Park. So we have really good news from one of the startups that are actually based in this building. It's a foundation called Asperare. Did you know that around 30 million people in Europe are suffering from rare diseases, and only 5% of them have access to treatment? So this is exactly where Asperare, who is a non-for-profit organization, develops treatment to notably children, to help them to save their lives and also to give their families a better life. So in the latest news, they announced that the US FDA has granted a breakthrough therapy designation for prenatal treatment of XLHED, and that's a life-threatening rare genetic condition. Basically, it impedes children from their ability to sweat. And they've had, this was granted, this designation, following the promising results of 3 tests. 3 subjects who were treated during the 3rd trimester of pregnancy, and the results are incredible, and it demonstrates that it has a profound and life-changing effect on these children. So congratulations to Asperare for this recent success, and we really hope that you can continue providing these successes to the world. So now some news from a Genius graduate, Nat Wong, with his foundation Water Inception. So they have recently provided a water generator to a refugee camp, because their mission is to give everybody access to clean drinking water. And to support this mission, Water Inception previously launched, for example, the Happy Turtle straw. So don't know if you know them. These are edible and biodegradable straws to replace plastic straws. And now they've, in this COVID crisis, they've launched the Happy Turtle mask, which are reusable masks made in Switzerland. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to their website. The links are in the chat. And then you may recognize this Swiss icon, Michel Jordi. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's also a motivational speaker and the author of the book Ignite That Spark, which helps entrepreneurs to really find their way in launching their businesses. So the former EthnoWatch designer is launching his own protective mask in full this year. And this 100% Swiss-made and certified mask will be available in fall, and it will launch under the brand Maskit. So for a German-speaking audience, there's an article in the Handelszeitung. You can read there more about it. And keep an eye on our social media, because as soon as they launch, we'll obviously let you know. So now from closer to home, from one of our projects at Geneus, we're very happy to announce that this impressive team of Harvard graduates and senior executives, they've worked together with a large team of medical experts to develop a successful tool to actually help you reduce your stress. And not only it helps you to reduce your stress when you have it, but also helps you to avoid it. And once you've managed to reduce your daily stress levels, to manage your stress levels, which helps to better decision-making and resilience. So they very soon will launch, well, they've launched the app, and it will be available on the app stores very soon. If you want to get a preview, send an email to info@thaleslive.com and check out also our social media, because again, we will inform you when their seminars will go live and also when their app is available. Again, closer to home at Geneus. Last week, we had the graduation speech by Thera. It's a very exciting, young, brilliant team who are working on a blood filtering technology, basically targeting CTCs, which is the leading cause of death in cancer patients. They're joining the lab of Professor Philippe Renaud in the EPFL as per this month. And this lab is known for spinning off technologies into startups. I believe Philippe Renaud is part responsible for the launch of 13 startups. So he really knows how to transform research into economic and social impact in the region. So there's a link to the Bilan article about the lab, but keep an eye on our social media again to see further developments of Thera. And by the way, Antoine and Weida, the founders, they told me to tell you guys, all of you working on projects, all the best and success with your project. And lastly, Geneus and Fongit, we're very proud to be the content partner for the Open 17 Summer School. And that's taking place this month. Actually, we're with them again this afternoon. In this 4-week online program, there are really 70 students from all over the world, in any field and region, and they have bold ideas on how to tackle the pandemic and post-pandemic challenges with crowdsourcing and open source solutions. So they receive intensive mentoring and coaching. And it's organized by the University of Geneva, the University of Paris, Goodwill, the AI for Good Global Summit, and with the support of the Crowd4SDG project and the Geneva Tsinghua initiative. So there's an impressive lineup of guest speakers that is also due to the network of Unijeu, because we're uniquely placed here in Geneva besides international organizations. So it's wonderful that we can work together with the likes of WHO, UNICEF, but also our EPFL Vice President of Innovation, Mark Gruber, who co-authored the book Where to Play, which is the latest addition to the lean startup methodology. Sorry, I had to mention it because I'm quite passionate about this innovation process. So we're very happy to be working with these next generation of innovators and transforming their ideas into sustainable and scalable impact projects. And as a last comment, the next Café&Croissant will be also celebrate our 4 years of existence. Will take place on the 8th of September, and I really do hope we're going to be able to see you guys in person again. And
so you know it's gonna be phygital, physical, digital?
Well, yeah, probably something like that.
Okay.
So over back to you, Antonio.
Thank you, Ingeborg. I mean, it's really fascinating to see so many activities happening in at Geneus, and you really I mean, I really see how important is this bridge between entrepreneurs in the moment where they decide to create something and the time where they decide to incorporate the company. And these were also Geneus, you're very, very strong on that. Thanks also to the collaboration that you have with University of Geneva. With I see here, it's great, really, you know. And really, I look forward to see the results for Fongit, for Eclosion, for EPF Innovation Park, for all other partners at Geneus. Great job. Thank you. And I think now we can mention a bit what happened in our scene when it comes to events and good news and good content. I think it's the moment to hand it over to James. You changed setup now. You're now looking.
Yeah, I'm here in the Fongit cafeteria. If there's background noise, I'm sorry. It's just quite lively here, which is a good thing.
We hope.
So, you know, to the people in the audience, we have all the protection you need to come here and collaborate and learn from the best startups and the best startup supporters that are here. As Antonio said, the reason Western Switzerland is top 50 place to be for startups in the world is thanks to the heritage and serial entrepreneurs giving back and all the people around there. Now, one of the workshops we had a few weeks ago was about intellectual property. We passionately believe that if you're going to build a house, make sure you own the ground on it, and please put a lock on the door to show that you care. If it's worth inventing, if it's worth investing in, it's worth protecting. And we had a great workshop with the experts at Katzeroff. The first thing is never present or publish your results publicly before protecting your IP. Just send the message to your coach or to an IP lawyer. Please don't put a video of your product on the web, because that can stop you being able to patent it. It's very embarrassing for the patent lawyer, and it's so much damage can hurt. So people talk about filing patents. We believe in an IP strategy. If you want to get the best from an IP lawyer, phone them, ask for 3 recommendations, reach out to 3 good, patent lawyers that work with other startups, yes, and ask.
It got frozen.
What we need to do on the IP front. So just also, we find that IP lawyers are working with startups because it is it's something that they're passionate about. So the more you include them in your team, the better they can design a strategy that is related to what you want to achieve, rather than just spending money randomly on patents. A few good patents are worth more than 20 or 100 random patents. So it's a strategic tool, it's an investment, and it's well worth it. So please, if you have any questions about IP, talk to your coach, and we'll connect you with IP lawyers that our startups recommend that give appropriate advice. So moving on to the events that are coming up. As Ingeborg said, there will be physical cake. Worst case, it will be her and I and the Genius team, and hopefully some directors there, and everyone else will just have to watch us eating cake. Our events, the more the risk of the virus becomes virtual, the more physical our events become. So we're playing it safety first, but humanity is essential. So We've got the Fongit Café&Croissant on the 3rd of September, and the Geneus one a few days later. One on the Thursday, one on the Tuesday. Other exciting things in September, Fongit will be moving. We'll be moving 300 meters down the road to a new building which has windows and a terrace. So we're being upgraded, and I should say a thank you to the team that have actually used this time to plan that relocation. So it seems that the rents are very similar, but it just is new and better, and that's what every startup should be doing, right? So that's in September. We'll also be running a virtual Fongit Force. Normally each year we get the best speakers on business development, sales and negotiation. They come in for a day to give a workshop. Now, with the change of working practices, we can run a series of 2 hour lunchtime workshops with them. And they want to do that with us before selling this series to other incubators around the world. So we're working out the details with our coaches at lunch to find what are the courses that are going to be the most useful and most innovative and unusual, so that you get these skills. Because that's the difference between a hobby and a business, is selling things that people need. And a final important event is the Swiss Startup Days. It used to be called the Swiss CEO Day. That is when the whole Swiss startup scene get together. It should be on the 5th and 6th of October. So keep your eyes out for that. If you are a CEO, this is the place to meet the ecosystem. If you raise money, it's great because you can just walk around and bump into 100 people and keep your network hot for the next year. So I think I've been going to that for over 14 years, and I love it each time. And I'm an introvert, so that's really saying something. So Antonio, I think those are the hot things that are coming over the summer period. Back to you.
That's great. Thank you, James. I think we are arriving at the end of it. So follow on our socials. We have been very active recently. So just go and check what's going on. And I think what about doing some Q&A? The time we have still some time. So if you have questions, we are welcome to answer.
Yeah, I should have said that about the events. If you want to know what's happening, just follow us. The best full news reel is our newsletter. You can sign up for it on the web. The other important newsletter is the Startup Ticker weekly newsletter. That is where the whole Swiss startup scene and events is published. That's a really great initiative. And then, of course, following us on our socials. But as you know, the physical events we only announce in our newsletter because we want it to the most select and engaged members of our community to attend. So, Antonio, I've got a question. Yes. So what would you advise startups to be doing over the summer? How can they use this time, which can be a little bit quieter from a business perspective, to prepare?
Yeah, that's an extremely good question because I think it's a question not only startups but all companies should ask themselves, and also Fongit normally ask this question during the month before summers. I mean, summer is a quieter period, and so it's always a good moment to do some menages to fix things that you didn't have time to do during the year, and also to plan for the future. In particular, Fongit last year, I think it was summer when we spent most of the time to first, think, but the thinking was, of course, a longer-term process. But in particular, write, edit, and communicate on our new strategy for the 4 years moving forward. So it's an extremely good moment for doing this type of activities. This is generally speaking. Now, with this crisis going on, actually, it's not even an option, but I would say there is a mandatory recommendation that I allow myself to tell everyone. I mean, this is the moment to think about the future, and the future needs to be thought in a multiple scenarios way, in the sense that we are still here and we need to do things that we should have done, and we can really benefit of summer. Doing, if we want to do a strategy, new strategy, why not? A new rebranding, changing offices like we are doing this year, for example. But in particular this year, we need to think that starting from September, we have to run a business with at least 2 scenarios in mind. A scenario that can be hopefully a positive scenario, so things are going well, things are catching up again, and with all the differences and the new things that our life will have learned to deal with, there will be economy that's coming back as normal. And this is the one scenario. But there's another scenario that things can go back in a difficult way. And this is a real possibility. So to omit this possibility, for me, is a real mistake. So that is why companies should think about 2 scenarios, very clear scenarios, 2 or 3 scenarios with all different options, and to avoid to be caught by surprise, like we all have lived starting from March and February this year. So this is the important thing. If we want to learn from the past, is avoiding the future, the mistake for the future, it's just getting prepared for at least 2 possible options in terms of pivoting the company, in terms of reducing costs, in terms of doing all the measures that we had to handle a bit reactively. No, maybe not a bit, just reactively, because that what it was. I mean, it was emergency, panic all around. Now let's plan in advance. Let's be optimistic, but having also a backup plan, a contingency plan for the worst. And I think this is the wisest thing that any entrepreneur could do. With that in mind, we invite you also to go and talk with your coaches, for example, to discuss with them, really to take a moment to step a bit out from your desk and the day-by-day activity, operational activity, and think about some scenario planning that can definitely help you for the future. It's just an insurance policy that then you put on your desk and you leave it there, hopefully for not using it. But your coaches in this situation is the best people you can talk to, or people at Fongit, or anyone that can support you in this kind of a bit out of the box thinking.
Yeah, it's true that our coaches, well, Fongit, we're seeing 80 companies, and then via InnoSuisse, via our networks, we just are seeing what the best people are doing, and your coach can share those insights and say, well, look, we've seen this approach, we've seen that approach. What do you think works the best for you? And as an innovator, and it's all about creating and choosing the right options and being prepared. So that's really one of the benefits of being a part of our network. And yeah, thank you very much to my colleague coaches, their support and wisdom, and sharing what they're seeing, because that's just gives us so much more confidence when we're helping people plan their future.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if there is any other question.
I think we're basically good in the list of questions from the audience. So I think we have a few thank yous we want to make. However, we do not do any of this alone.
Of course we don't. You know, I just mentioned the coaches just before, and you know, coaches at Fongit are doing a fantastic job. So thank you all of them, because the companies really appreciate that, and they appreciate in particular in difficult moments, difficult times like this one. So it's really a great support that, and I personally receive a lot of témoignages of people telling us that you're doing a great job. So really congratulations for that. And of course, our team, I've got here a nice picture of our Marcom team that wants to wish you a happy summer. You know, again, it's a teamwork, and I go back also to the previous slides where I was talking about the Geneva area ecosystem. Once again, all the actors, and I'm sure I forgot to mention many of those, you know, from the University of Geneva, the CERN, all the different incubators working at university levels, Geneus, Fongit, Eclosion, EPF Innovation Park. I mean, a startup ticker in terms of media, all the
State of Geneva.
The state of Geneva, of course. I mean, by definition, I thank the state of Geneva every day, every morning when I wake up, you know. But it's also a question of people, right? So this is the Marcom team, and I really want to thank them for the great job they do. And I recognize a nice smiling Abbas on top left, and I think it's going to be his last Café&Croissant. So thank you. Thank you, Abbas, for your great job. And then we have Camille. We have Berna. We have the new arrival, Sébastien. Welcome, Sébastien. And then we have Eveline, that is behind the scene, coordinating also our Café&Croissant today. I mean, this is just for wishing you happy summer. Happy summer also to Pulse, that just sent a message to us. Yes. And we wish you again a pleasant summer. We are gonna see each other in September, and again, think about this summer, about fixing things, scenario planning, and starting full force, full of energy, and full of good energy back in September. So until then, I think that's all. I'd like to thank you, Ingeborg, James. Are you taking vacation, right?
Yeah, I'm going to the mountains.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going hiking.
Fantastic.
No Wi-Fi reception. I'm really sorry, guys. If you need something from me, you got to send me an email today.
Yeah, back to the 80s, James. Good.
Oh yeah, fax me.
Yeah. Okay.
Be watching Jane Fonda.
I hope you're taking also a good vacation, and voila. So I think that's it. Until then, I wish you all the best, and I'll see you with a nice tan back in September.
Brilliant.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.